This may look like a nation built on liberty and justice, but behind the flag, behind the Constitution, are secrets, projects so disturbing, so morally bankrupt, they sound like dystopian fiction, but they were real, they were approved, they were funded, and they were pure evil. This is the story of 15 U.S. government projects that were pure evil. The Tuskegee Syphilis Experiment, 1932 to 1972. For 40 years, the U.S. Public Health Service watched hundreds of poor black men die slow, painful deaths just to study how syphilis progressed untreated. They told the men they were receiving free health care. They lied. Even when penicillin became the standard cure, they denied it. Why? To observe death, scientifically too. Project MKUltra, 1953 to 1973. The CIA believed mind control could be weaponized, so they began drugging unsuspecting Americans with LSD, hypnotizing them and torturing them, mentally and physically. Some never recovered, some never survived. There were no rules, no consent, no humanity, just power experiments in secret labs. 3. Project Sunshine, 1950s. How do you test nuclear fallout's effects? According to the U.S. government, you steal dead babies. Without consent, they took tissue samples from deceased infants, often without the parents ever knowing. They called it research. Parents called it Horror 4. Operation Sea Spray, 1950. In a biological warfare test, the U.S. Navy sprayed bacteria over San Francisco just to see what would happen. Thousands fell sick. One man died. The public wasn't warned. The military called it data collection. Victims called it betrayal. The Willowbrook hepatitis experiments, 1956 to 1970. At a school for mentally disabled children, researchers deliberately infected kids with hepatitis. They justified it as medical advancement. They used the most vulnerable as test subjects and did it for over a decade. 6. Operation Northwoods, 1962. A plan proposed by the Pentagon: bomb U.S. cities, hijack planes, murder Americans, then blame it on Cuba to justify war. President Kennedy shut it down, but the plan existed, on paper, with signatures. Operation Midnight Climax. CIA agents set up brothels in San Francisco. Unknowing clients were drugged with LSD, then watched behind one-way mirrors. The goal? To test control and manipulation using sex and psychedelics. This wasn't fiction. This was your tax dollars at work. Radiation experiments on patients, 1940s to 1970s. Hospitals injected cancer patients, pregnant women, and soldiers with radioactive materials. They didn't tell them. They didn't ask permission. They just did it. For national security. Operation Big Itch and Operation Dropkick, the U.S. military released disease-carrying insects over American cities. Why? To test how biological weapons might spread. They used their own people as lab rats and didn't even warn them. Operation Mockingbird, 1950s to 1970s. The CIA infiltrated newspapers, magazines, and TV networks. They paid journalists. They shaped headlines. They controlled the narrative. Freedom of the press? Not when the CIA's writing the script. Guantanamo Bay torture program. After 9/11, the U.S. built a black site prison on Cuban soil. They waterboarded detainees, forced them into stress positions for days, sleep deprivation, sensory assault. No charges, no trials, no mercy. All justified in the name of freedom. NSA mass surveillance, revealed 2013. When Edward Snowden spoke out, the world learned the truth. The U.S. was watching everyone, every text, every email, every call. No warrant, no consent. The Constitution, shredded in secret. Targeted drone strikes program. After September 11th, presidents approved secret kill lists. Drone operators struck targets in Yemen, Pakistan, Afghanistan. But they also hit weddings, homes, hospitals, children died. Entire families vanished in smoke. Official term, collateral damage. Psychological operations on U.S. citizens. They didn't stop at war zones. The U.S. experimented on your mind. Fake social media accounts, planted news stories, online division, outrage, chaos, engineered from inside the system. Zero tolerance family separation, 2017 to 2018. Thousands of migrant children were ripped from their parents at the border, put in cages, kept in tents. Some were never reunited. The trauma, permanent, and the excuse, we were just enforcing the law. These weren't rogue operations. They were authorized, funded, protected. The people responsible were rarely punished. The victims were often silenced, and the consequences still unfolding today. So the next time someone says the US government would never do that, remind them of what it already has. If you made it this far, you're one of the few who wants to know the truth. Like, share, and subscribe, because history doesn't repeat, it just gets forgotten.